Connectors are very important in the CELPIP writing and speaking exams. This is what academic users use, and this is what you need to do if you want a high CLB score. Connectors or conjunctions are used in between sentences, when changing paragraphs, or when changing the point or the argument. And this helps you in your mark for flow. It also helps you have a range of vocab because now you're using good connectors. It also helps you explain the structure. One thing explained, connector, and another thing, so it helps you hit multiple marks. Now, I like three main connectors. If you ask me my favorites, they are furthermore, likewise, moreover. In speaking, you can say them quick. They don't have many syllables. They're just one-worded connectors. In writing, you can write them quick. They are formal, which means they're academic, and they're going to give you more marks if you use more advanced, unique words. Also, most topics in CELPIP Writing and Speaking are formal in nature, so they fit in easily, and they help you switch your point from one thing to another. But we also want to learn informal connectors, where you can use them in the informal settings, for example, task 1 email, writing to a friend or family, or in speaking when you're talking to friends. These words would be also, plus, and similarly. Now, similarly does not mean that the thing between sentences has to be similar. It's just a connector unless you're explaining something completely different or contradicting what you said initially. So use them for informal settings. They are appropriate to the situation. When we talk about a little bit advanced to the advanced words, we would say words like accordingly, surprisingly, and interestingly. Now, if you ask me, in English language, they're not super advanced, but in CELPIP, they're advanced. Why? Because people don't use them. These are words with lees. So adverbs, lee, interestingly, quickly, slowly. But in this case, we're talking about adverbs using connectors. When you use them, you show the examiner another layer of your range of vocab, giving you more marks. Now, let's switch on to contradictory connectors, and these would be where you change opinions from one thing to another, positive to negative, or one side to another side. Words like however, nonetheless, and nevertheless are your three best friends, very handy in questions like speaking task 5, where you're comparing and persuading, and same thing goes for speaking task 6, as well as paragraphs in writing where you are changing your topic, such as task 2. Now, let's talk about concluding words as well, because you're going to be using a lot of them at the end of your speaking tasks, and especially in task 2, towards the end, sometimes in task 1. These ones are therefore, hence, consequently. Very handy words to use, and again, they're quick, plus they're advanced. They're not very basic, and remember, these ones on your screen are formal. Most topics are formal, so they're handy. Now let's talk about concluding words which are more informal in nature, and you can use words like that's why or thereby. Now, you want to comment below if you think you can use some other connectors, because the ones I'm giving you, you can easily use them. However, if you have some of your own, there may be a problem. For example, you should not use contractions in the exam. That is a contraction. However, it's to be used, because the other way to say it is that is why. Now, nobody uses that. So that's okay, but if you have any other words or confusions, use them in the comments and I'll tell you if you're right or incorrect. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you are using connectors such as moving on to. On top of that, what's worse? These connectors are again going to add to your range of vocabulary because you have used one-worded connectors earlier, like the ones I showed you, and now you show the examiner that you're capable of using multiple worded connectors when you're switching paragraphs or sentences. And that is extremely helpful to show the examiner an entire range and get your mark for that. So make sure to make use of these intelligent, advanced connectors and conjunctions in your writing and speaking exams to avail the best CLB scores.